On November 4th, a powerful storm named Typhoon Tino, known internationally as Kalmiji, slammed into the central Philippines. Overnight, strong winds and relentless rain tore through entire communities, destroying homes, wrecking infrastructure, and forcing thousands to flee for safety. The storm grew quickly over the Philippine Sea before making landfall around 3 a.m. in southern Leyte. Wind speeds reached nearly 90 miles per hour, with gusts even higher. It was a night no one in its path will ever forget. As Tino pushed west-northwest, it carved a path of destruction through Leyte, Samar, Bohol, and Cebu, before moving toward the Visayan Sea later that day. When morning came, people woke up to devastation. In many coastal towns, officials said that up to 80% of homes were either damaged or completely gone. Roofs were ripped off, concrete walls crumbled, and entire wooden houses were flattened.
Yung diri sa phase 3, maluoy ang taon mo, nanami sa rooftop tanan. Oh, ang mananga, kanawa. Nangaanod na tanan, Lord, na ami diri. Rescue, please, rescue.
Even public buildings, schools, churches, local offices couldn't stand against the storm's power. The howling winds battered the region all night long. In Tacloban City, things were especially grim. Power was out, communication lines were cut, and people struggled to contact loved ones. Transmission towers and power lines were brought down by the intense winds, plunging entire communities into darkness. According to the National Grid Corporation, 5 major transmission towers in eastern Visayas were destroyed, leaving hundreds of thousands of families without electricity. Typhoon Tino's fury left behind more than just wreckage. It left stories of loss, survival, and resilience that will echo for years across the islands. Cellular and internet networks went down across several towns, cutting off communication right when people needed help the most. On the islands of Bohol and Cebu, things were just as bad. In Tagbilaran, massive storm surges swallowed the port area. Cars were underwater. Warehouses were torn apart by rising waves. Further down Cebu's southern coast, seawater flooded entire neighborhoods in Karkar and Sabanga, leaving families stranded on rooftops, waiting for rescuers to arrive through the chaos. In Ormoc and Baybay, the seawalls couldn't hold back the storm. Waves nearly 10 feet high smashed through barriers, sending debris hundreds of feet inland. Authorities from the Department of Public Works and Highways reported that several bridges and major highways in Leyte and Samar are still blocked by floods and landslides. Large sections of the Maharlika Highway, a key route connecting eastern and central Visayas, were destroyed by fallen trees and collapsed slopes, making it even harder for rescue teams to reach those in need. More than 150,000 people have now evacuated from coastal and low-lying areas across eastern Visayas, Baikal, and northern Mindanao. Many shelters are overcrowded, forcing local officials to turn classrooms and gymnasiums into temporary shelters. In Mason, southern Leyte, survivors described terrifying hours as the winds howled non-stop through the night. off homes and leaving families huddled in darkness, praying for the storm to end. Relief efforts are still facing major hurdles, as many villages remain cut off by blocked roads and landslides. The Department of Social Welfare and Development has sent out more than 200,000 food packs, while the Philippine military is using trucks, boats, and helicopters to reach communities that are still isolated. According to the National Disaster Management Council, at least 17 provinces have been hit hard, thousands of families have been displaced, and dozens of towns are still without power or clean water. Roads, bridges, and markets have suffered heavy damage, and several government buildings have partially collapsed. In Cebu City, commercial areas took a serious hit, glass windows shattered, and storefront signs came crashing down as powerful winds swept through the city streets. The energy sector has also been badly affected. Power substations in places like Ormoc, Palo, and Catbalogan were flooded, and fallen electric poles now line the highways. Officials estimate that full power restoration could take over a week in the hardest-hit zones. The water crisis is adding to the misery. With limited access to clean water, sanitation concerns are growing inside crowded evacuation shelters. Meanwhile, the agriculture sector has taken a devastating blow. More than 25,000 hectares of rice and cornfields are gone, and countless fish ponds and poultry farms have been swallowed by floodwaters. Transportation across the central Philippines has come to a near standstill, leaving many communities waiting and hoping for help to arrive soon.
Makapunta kog emergency. Pwede pa apatabang ni diri dapita Villa Azalea Kotkot Liluan, please. Please guys, tabangin.
Natuma na sa balay guys. Whatever na mo rescue, bakayan, Julalul Rio 1, please lang.
Grabe na ako kadugay sa Mandawi, pero ingon ani. First time, wala ko naratol, pero grabe natulog gid akong luha.
The Civil Aviation Authority has grounded more than 60 domestic flights, including routes to and from Cebu, Tacloban, and Dumaguete. Nationwide ferry and cargo services are also on hold, leaving hundreds of travelers stranded at ports from Ormoc all the way to Surigao. Road travel hasn't been spared either. Many highways remain blocked by fallen debris or made unsafe due to landslides. Military and police teams have been sent out to help local authorities clear the roads, assist stranded residents, and keep order in areas hit hardest by the storm. The Department of Health has dispatched medical teams to stop the spread of waterborne diseases, while the Department of Education reports that over 300 schools have either sustained damage or are now serving as temporary shelters. International relief organizations have already mobilized, preparing to deliver food, medicine, and supplies to affected communities. Neighboring countries like Japan, Australia, and Singapore have also pledged to send in technical and logistical support once conditions improve. Local officials confirm that Typhoon Tino has weakened slightly as it passed through the Visayas, though it continues to dump heavy rainfall, anywhere from 4 to 8 inches in some provinces. Forecasters expect the storm to move out into the West Philippine Sea within the next 24 hours, where it could strengthen again before making its way toward Vietnam later this week. Residents across the central Philippines are being urged to stay alert as the threat of flash floods, landslides, and storm surges continues to rise. Days of relentless rain have already drenched the region, leaving the ground soaked and unstable. Officials are keeping a close eye on major rivers in Leyte and Samar, where water levels are approaching critical limits. Dam operators are now monitoring for possible controlled releases to prevent worse flooding downstream. This marks the 20th tropical cyclone to hit the Philippines this year, a clear reminder of how vulnerable the country remains to extreme weather events fueled by climate change. Experts warn that deforestation, mining, and unplanned coastal construction have made flooding and erosion far more severe. Nature's power, they say, is being amplified by human actions. For many communities still struggling to rebuild from past storms, Typhoon Tino feels like déjà vu, another painful setback, but also another test of resilience. As morning light broke over the Visayas, people slowly stepped out of evacuation centers to face what was left behind. Roads buried under debris, power lines tangled and torn, and entire neighborhoods reduced to fragments of what used to be home. Yet even in the wreckage, the spirit of survival remains, strong, determined, and ready to rebuild once again. Residents across the central Philippines are being urged to stay alert as the threat of flash floods, landslides, and storm surges continues to rise. Days of relentless rain have already drenched the region, leaving the ground soaked and unstable. Officials are keeping a close watch on major rivers in Leyte and Samar, where water levels are nearing critical points. Dam operators are preparing for possible controlled releases to prevent even worse flooding downstream. This is already the 20th tropical cyclone to enter the Philippines this year, a harsh reminder of how exposed the islands remain to powerful storms made stronger by climate change. Environmental experts warn that deforestation, quarrying, and poorly planned coastal development are worsening the impact, stripping away natural barriers that once protected communities. For towns still recovering from past disasters, Typhoon Tino isn't just another storm, it's another heartbreak, another test of strength and faith. As dawn broke over the battered Visayas region, families stepped out from shelters to find their neighborhoods unrecognizable. Streets buried in debris, homes shattered, and power lines dangling dangerously low. Yet even amid the destruction, there's something unbreakable, the Filipino spirit, the will to rise, rebuild, and start again. And if stories like this move you, stories of courage, survival, and hope, take a moment to subscribe. Your support helps us bring the world closer to the people who live through these moments every day.